Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of December. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this morning by Stevie Clifford from his humble abode. Apologies, we're slightly late, folks. I assume Stevie was at work, but he's not. He's back in his little blue room there. And good to have you on, Stevie. How goes it?
Yeah, mate, I'm all right. It's a cupboard dungeon today for everyone, so hope everybody is well and looking forward to the festivities. Could have done with a better Rangers result at the weekend, but what it is.
I like that little. That's a new sort of. Is that a canvas behind you? The Walter statue there.
They've both been here the length of time, so provided by Blue Room Art, which I'd encourage everybody to go and check. They really are fantastic. But yeah, it's Walter and another one, Ibrox, on the other side on a Euro night. So yeah, they help. And then I think behind me, I've got the wee My Gers Welcome Ibrox sign as well. So
there you go. Fantastic.
Not too
bad. Absolutely. Right, plenty to discuss. It is the press conference is currently taking place. Danny Rohl speaking ahead of the game against Motherwell on the 27th. Chris is there for us. We'll bring you some of the big takeaways from that. Before we get stuck in, a quick word for our podcast sponsors, Willows Fencing, the Glasgow-based fencing company you can trust and proud partners of the Rangers Review. If you're looking for a new fence, these are the guys to call. They offer free consultations, and you also get 10% off if you use the code Rangers Review over on their website, which is willows-fencing.com. But we'll take one of the big talking points from Danny Rohl's press conference first of all. I'm also going to discuss Alan McCoist's sit-down with Stephen Gerrard. Some interesting things coming from that. But Chris is there for us, and he tells us that Danny Rohl hopeful that John Souttar will be back in time to be in contention for the game against St Mirren, which is on the 30th of December, which is good news, I guess, on that front. Stevie, we've not had you on since Sunday. A real kick in the gonads, that result. Where does that leave Rangers, do you reckon, now? Did it tell you anything you didn't already know, losing to the league leaders, deserved league leaders at this point in time for me?
Well, what would I know? I thought we would turn up and get a result, and we didn't bother, did we? So, listen, Derek, what does it tell us? Sadly, and I hate coming on here and being negative, but we're not in a title race. Spoke about it a few weeks ago. This was a sliding door moment. So instead of looking up, we're probably looking over our shoulder. It is imperative that we get results against Motherwell and St Mirren to stop ourselves being dragged into what is a mid-table scrap, which unfortunately, if we don't win these games, very much could be, because we'll be too isolated away from the top and really in that middle bit. So, listen, we need 6 points and we need to go into these games, and then it's Celtic and Aberdeen, the double header. And the problem that you've got there is the way that we just continually don't turn up for these games. You know, what we're going to get. So that was a real confirmation, unfortunately, that this group certainly doesn't have the quality and are weak physically and mentally when it comes to the battle. And I don't say that lightly. And yes, I've said it again all season, but I had been lured into a false sense of security, of hope that they could go and at least win the battle, at least win the fight, and then see what happened. But they are so weak-willed, it's incredible. So it was a real kick. Yep, it was a real one. And I think confirmation, just regarding the size of task we have ahead of us. And this is going to take quite a bit to fix, but we have to certainly start in January. January has to be the beginning of what's necessary for a quite drastic recovery for Rangers with regards to quality and players that we have. I don't think there's one player in that squad that can genuinely look at themselves and say that they've performed above and beyond. There's a few that can say, well, they've done averagely enough, but there's only a few. And I think that's testament of why we are fourth in the league and why we will not win silverware this season or be in a title race, because they just don't have the capability or ability to do so. And it's not easy to say that, but it is unfortunately the truth.
Yep. I can't disagree with any of that. Like you, went into the game with a bit of hope, because you're thinking Danny Rohl's got a tune out of this group, but he's done well for what he's been left with. So I know he's come in for a bit of criticism after the weekend, but I'm not laying the problems at his door entirely. I think he's doing as well as he possibly can with this group of players.
Can we talk about him for a wee minute?
You can do, yeah.
So you will have seen the criticism of him and people saying he's not good enough and he's likely going to get sacked, etc.
Don't think he's going to get sacked.
Well, that's what. So well, no, but social media are saying he's not going to be good enough and he should be out the door and stuff like that. The way I see it, Derek, is that Danny Rohl's done a really good job, and I'll continue to say what I said last week, to get 20 points out of 24 prior to that one on Sunday with this group, which lacks so much, to me, is really good. Is he infallible and without question? No, absolutely not. Do we wonder about some tactical things? Do we wonder about some substitutions? Are they a bit erratic and stuff like that? Yes, but that simply tells me that he's dealing with a squad that he doesn't trust and he knows lack an abundance of quality. And I think that's why he's doing that. You seen it on Sunday. He was trying to throw the proverbial at the wall to fix it and see what stuck, and nothing did.
Yeah.
I think he knows the state of the squad. I will hark back to that moment where when he was asked how many players does he need in January, and he kind of laughed and scoffed, if you like. And it was the first real breakthrough signing to what Danny Rohl really believes publicly, because I think that was telling. I think that we're in a horrible cycle again, Derek, because this run that we are on, whether we like it or not, if Danny Rohl doesn't come out of this 5-game positively, people will begin on social media to ramp up that pressure on him. And once again, we're stuck in the same cycle of gambling whether or not a manager is the right one, and then is the one that's able to bring in players and stuff in January without going further into this never-ending rabbit hole that we're in. So all that is apparent. I don't think Danny Rohl gets a complete free pass, but I think there needs to be context in what he's dealing with. There's every single time Rangers get beat in recent weeks, and if you look at the European game against Ferencváros 2-1, and you look at the game on Sunday, it's individual errors every single time. We're not getting cut apart. We are pretty much well organised, as such, as well as you probably could be. He's having to overload. He is a wee bit defensive because when he came in, we were getting 30, 40 chances against. So,
I know.
There's got to be a wee bit of understanding of exactly what he's dealing with. Are the performances sparkling? No, I don't think they are, but everybody needs to everybody just wanted us to start winning games. So prior to that one on Sunday, we had 5 clean sheets and 8, and we were doing okay. So I think there's an understanding of what Danny Rohl's dealing with for me, of where he is. I really want him to do well, but time is going to tell, and I think that's the fairest way to look at it. I think that talk of Danny Rohl not being the one or removing him and stuff just puts us back in this horrible cycle, Eric, of constantly removing head coaches and not really addressing the main problem, which is the structure at Ibrox from top to bottom is wrong. We lack leadership off the pitch and most certainly lack it on the pitch. And backing the wrong horses has taken us here. The damage done in summer is evident for all of us to see, and the squad just don't have it. So I'm not sure what anybody could have done. And it's interesting because a lot of people say, Steven Gerrard would have got more out of this group. Kevin Muscat would have got more out of this group.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. Steven Gerrard spoke yesterday and said it quite plainly. So, no, Danny Rohl, I feel for him because he really is dealing with probably the worst top-flight Rangers team that I've seen. It lacks so much, Derek. It is so bland. It is so weak. And it is so bad. And even under Caixinha and stuff like that, we still had Windass and Morelos and stuff like that. And they were more exciting than watching Asgard and Miovskis and stuff at the moment, who just flatter to deceive most of the time. And, Danilo or whoever you want to shove into that category, whatever you want to say, this squad really is lacking, Derek. So I cannot be critical of Danny Rohl. I can be intriguing in some of the things he's done, but honestly, what are you supposed to do with this?
No,
you constantly fail you at every single turn. Our biggest threat is Fernandes, and he's our centre half, a young boy. And what do you do? So I think there needs to be context around the Danny Rohl discussion. I'm sorry to jump in on that and can I speak to you about it, but we should address it and we should at least talk about it because I think we need to be careful of getting down this rabbit hole again of wanting another guy out and trying to
I'm not. Yeah,
force that, media or force that social media kind of attitude towards him when there needs to be understanding of what he's dealing with. And if we all quite rightly say get rid of every single one of these players, they're absolutely this, that, and everything else, how can you possibly expect the guy that's dealing with it to get better out of them? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm not laying the blame at Danny Rohl. Absolutely no way whatsoever at this point. And for me, he's doing a good job with what he walked into. You mentioned Steven Gerrard there. He sat down with Ali McCoist on TNT. And of course, the issue of Rangers was brought up, and the reason why he never took over from Russell Martin. And Ali said, did you not fancy it? He says, it's not that I didn't fancy it. Rangers is obviously your club more than it is my club, but I've got a special affinity for Rangers now. I want to help that club, but you have to have the right tools. You have to have the right opportunity to help that club, because I know how difficult it is. I understand when you put that on your neck and your shoulders, how heavy it is. You know that more than anyone else. If you get the right tools and you're surrounded by the right people, I've got the confidence in myself that I can make Rangers good again. But if I'm not surrounded by the right people and haven't got the right tools, I'm not a magician. But that's out of respect for Rangers, that I would only take it if it was right as well. So we all know, of course, Thelwell and Stewart, who are no longer there behind the scenes. But reading that and watching that yesterday, Stevie, as you touched on there, he wasn't happy with the squad. Now, given the fact that he's been out the game, and I think the next step for Steven Gerrard is huge if he wants to have a career in management, given he's had two poor spells at Villa and Al Ettifaq in Saudi Arabia, then the next job has to be right for him. And he could see that himself, that he would fail with this group of players. So I think Daniel Rohl deserves a bit of credit for coming in there and getting the points on the board that he has done, whereas other managers just walked away from
it. Yeah, we're allowed to be brutally honest here and go against the grain, because I understand that Steven Gerrard's media darling for everyone and the Rangers support. I'm bored of Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard wanted to be here and wanted to be the Rangers manager. He wasn't. He put himself first because he knew the size of the task. So he can tell us that he's interested in Rangers and everything else, but there's a wee bit of self-preservation there because he knew fine well what he was coming into, which goes back to what I was saying. If Steven Gerrard knows the situation of this squad and we all think he could get more out of it, he's blatantly telling you that he can't. We also knew that Thelwell and Stewart were the people behind the fact that he's, or the position that the club found herself in, which is why I was so vocal on both. My stance with that won't change. But Steven Gerrard, keeping himself relevant, and when it comes to Rangers, is I don't think it's worth commenting on. I don't think it's good for Danny Rohl, and I certainly don't think that it's good for us. The fact is, if Steven Gerrard wanted to be here, he would be here. And people go on about Steven Gerrard like he was some sort of messiah. That's not quite the truth, really, is it? Because we had two really bad seasons, or two building seasons, and we all knew where we were getting to, where we gave him time, but there was a groundswell that wanted him out at times as well. So let's not pretend that Steven Gerrard was absolutely magnificent, because he wasn't. It took him 3 years to get to where we were. And at the point where he left, there was people complaining about his football as well. So I'm not painting Steven Gerrard in a difficult light. I just think that, again, we become misty-eyed about certain things. And the truth is, the genuine truth is that if Steven Gerrard wanted this job, he would be here. And he's basically come out and told you that the reason he's not here is because this squad is a position it's in. But we still expect Danny Rohl to go and get that job done. I think that's grossly unfair when the evidence is right there. And by the way, if Steven Gerrard is simply biding his time, where he wants to come on and come back, say this position does become available next summer, and Steven Gerrard goes, no, it is the right time for me. What does that say about his true feelings for Rangers? Because we really needed him a couple of months ago. Really needed him. The job was there. We went all out to give him it, and he was like, nah, it's not good for me, but it's good for you potentially in the summer and that. I'm not sure that sits well with me, Derek.
No, me neither.
Listen, I understand the feeling towards Steven, and I always appreciate what he done for us, but I don't buy that he's this mystical, magical manager that everybody makes out, and that he would have came back and we suddenly been doing X, Y, Z. Doesn't really work that way for me or in my feelings. So I understand that might be against the pale for a lot of people, and a lot of people might not agree. Truth is, Steven Gerrard would have been here if he wanted to, and it wasn't good for him. For him, not for Rangers, for him. So as far as I'm concerned, we move on and leave it there.
Yep. I know in the summer I didn't want him. I know there was a big clamour for him in the summertime before Russell Martin was given the job when he was sacked, though, and then all roads were leading down at the Gerrard avenue. Then I was sort of getting a little bit more on board with it at that point, because Rangers needed someone to sort of galvanise and get the fans back on board. But I think that ship has well and truly sailed now. Speaking, he also touched on...
Genuinely, sorry, Derek, what does it say if he goes in the summer and says, imagine we're in this situation again, which given Rangers' recent history wouldn't be a surprise to anyone really, and we go in the summer and Steven Gerrard's like, nah, it's a good time for me now, I really want it now, and this is all good for me and everything else. How does that sit? Is it just me who looks at that and goes, well, where were you 7 months ago? You could have started eating into this and didn't bother because it wasn't right for you, but now it is. What does that say? Because for me, it just says, nah, I'm not. That's it. That's a guy that's more interested in self-preservation, who knows fine well that his next move is key for him, not for Rangers, for him. If he really wanted it, he would be here. So I'm sorry, like, if it comes across as being whatever, that's fine. My opinion on it is that I hope one day that that situation becomes clearer and is better. But the old Danny Rohl is the Rangers head coach. He chose to be here, and I think he deserves it back. And instead of talking about a guy who clearly didn't want to.
Yeah, I'll be forever grateful for 55, of course, but I think that time has come and gone, and it's time for Rangers to move on from that. Interestingly, when he was asked about when he left for Villa at the time, he says it was important to me that we got what we wanted that summer after Rangers won the title. We never asked for £6 million, and I didn't get £6 million. We had targets, we didn't get the targets. I took Juninho Bacuna, who's a good player. We had to take him on a free. John Lundstrom was one we wanted. They reluctantly brought John in. They didn't want to give John the wages, but we were saying, look, if we had to buy John, he'd cost £2 to £3 million. So if you sort of put that into your thinking, because you're getting him on a free, it does deserve to go a little bit above the wage demand. The other one we wanted was Joey Veerman, who plays for PSV now. It would have been utopia for me to get Joey Veerman and John Lundstrom, because legs and aggression next to someone who was a Davis who could play. We still had a Rebo and Kamara. I believe the core of players from the ages of 24 to 30 would have took Rangers on to win again. That was my opinion and what I was trying for. This is not me all of a sudden throwing my dummy out the pram and going, well, I'm leaving. We stuck with it. The opportunity came, but I had a different feeling when the opportunity came. If they gave me what I wanted and needed, if Rangers gave me what I wanted and needed, if that can't happen financially, tell me. They never told me, and it was like there was something going on in the background. When Villa came, it was an unbelievable opportunity, but I do believe that opportunity would have come again by winning consistently with Rangers. But I didn't have the same feeling with what was above me and around me in terms of my ambition. So that's a different matter, Stevie. We all know at the time he wanted Joey Veerman. It never materialised, and he was away to Villa midway through the season. Thoughts on what he had to say on that front? It's hard because Rangers at that point, I mean, they had to sell, didn't they? Even though they won the league, they had to sort of shift one or two on, and they didn't want to do
that. Again, Steven Gerrard doing what's best for Steven Gerrard and not for what's with Rangers. He's got a lot to say about that time and understand it. And yeah, look, everybody wanted to kick on. The reasons why we didn't, it's up to the Park Group, I think, to explain why we didn't. Financially, I think they just eaten a £25 million loss over the COVID year, which they pretty much, covered and funded, along with John Bennett. So there's circumstances there. If they weren't honest about it, that shouldn't have happened. They should have had that discussion. Certainly, we should have done. But let's not pretend Steven Gerrard didn't get, mostly everything he wanted while he was at Rangers, because there was times where big bids were in for players. For your Morelos, Kent, Barisic and stuff like that, and he blocked it. So, they were pretty good with Steven Gerrard, and if he didn't get one player that he wanted, and that was enough for him to spit the dummy and move on, it becomes difficult. It depends on what narrative you want to set and what camp you want to sit in. So, I've got a lot of time for Steven Gerrard and what he delivered at Rangers, but I also look at it from a Rangers point of view and a Rangers first point of view, that ultimately, as he said, those opportunities would have come on along and stuff like that as well. And don't forget, by the way, he just sat and told the fans and ridiculed Emma Dodds live on telly by saying, I'm happy, well, don't ask stupid questions. And then 2 minutes later, he was up and out the door. So, Stephen, we can all kind of rewrite history and make it out that you were hard done by and whatever else. But as I said, the context of Steven Gerrard's time at Rangers is a bit different. And and it'll probably come a day where I have to face him in a press conference again and have to speak to him, and that's all fine because I want what's best for Rangers. But nobody can tell me that Steven Gerrard wasn't putting Steven Gerrard first when that time was about, and also tell me that Steven Gerrard didn't put himself first a couple of months ago when it really came to taking that Rangers job. So I just think once again it's noise that we don't necessarily need. We've got bigger problems than worrying about who's not here. Worry about what's in front of us, which is a squad that urgently needs fixed. There's a hell of a lot of pressure on Andrew Cavaran, Parag Marate, and there should be. We need leadership from top to bottom. That has to be correct. It has to be right. It can't be the wrong people. And we need quality in that squad. And all of that has to be done on the backdrop of what's been an atrocious summer. So I'd rather focus on what's in front of us and what we can fix, which is Rangers at this moment in time, and not what we can't. As I said, if he wanted to be here, he would be. He's not. So let's focus on the guy who is.
Yeah, I remember that interview. My wife walked into the room when he was speaking, and she said he's away, and she's got no stick in the game. But she looked at his body language. He doesn't mean a word. He's off ski, and lo and behold, that happened to be the case. But there you go. You can go and watch that interview with Ali.
Did he play the fans then?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit off. Yeah, I mean, what? I mean, it's hard to put yourself in that. It's a strange one, isn't it? At the time, the Rangers fans must be thinking, "Oh, he's going nowhere."
Yeah, exactly. So he made a fool of Emma Dodds and tried to, it became a meme. It became everything. Don't ask silly questions and everything else. And we got it in the neck because of that. Because basically, a couple of weeks later, he upped and he walked out. So as I said, I think we've got a habit of rewriting narratives in history and everything else as a support. And when it comes to it, I don't think Steven Gerrard is quite what people make him out to be. Would I have taken him back in the summer and things like that? Yeah, I think I probably would have. But Russell Martin was the option. So again, Derek, you were at the time where we said we'd keep Barry, and we got a hell of a lot of stick for that at the time as well. So no, I'm not. One or two things have happened here. One, I've not slept well, and you've caught me on a really grumpy morning, and I'm being quite forthright. Or two, I have an opinion on Steven Gerrard that others might share. So, I just want to concentrate on what's in front of us, Derek. And I think we've got far bigger things. This squad, man, honestly, keep me up at night. And I would rather concentrate on that and how we're going to fix this and the importance of the next couple of games. I don't want to be dragged into a fight for sixth place. And we're staring at that. If we don't get these results in the next couple of games, that'll plateau a wee bit. It will help us and it will settle it down. And then all we can do realistically is game by game try and chop it down. Get to January, make some signings, try and better this squad. Try and hope that you get 4 jackpot wins in January that really strengthen this team. That's my priority. My priority is Rangers. It's not self-preservation and is it the right time? It's Rangers for me, and we've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, the here and now, that's for sure. A few comments coming in. Love this. Graham says, evening all, just tuning in from the Cook Islands to hear the latest Rangers chat and hope we can step things up for the next few games. Slightly jealous of you tuning in from far afield there, Graham. Is that Australia, New Zealand way down that neck of the woods, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But good to have you tuning in, Graham. Tony says, what's the benefits of being a member? People on YouTube, Tony, we record a weekly Q&A show that members get access to send whatever questions they want in. You also get the morning briefing without the ads, and you also get different videos as well before everyone else at points. So we've got over 500 members now, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for your support to each and every one of you. So if you want to sign up, Tony, hit the join button on the homepage on the Rangers Review YouTube channel, and you can join up there. Now, that's going back to January, which is edging ever closer. Maka says Walter-style signings required on January the 1st. You sort of touched on it earlier, Stevie. Someone was asking actually on the Q&A show yesterday, was it priority position if you could choose one? I think all over the park needs surgery. If Rangers only had money to bring in one player, it would be a striker for me. But you look all over that team, there are gaping holes. What is realistic, do you reckon, in January? For me, like you and Maka here, Rangers need to have players in, like Fabio Silva. Remember a couple of seasons ago when he's paraded, I think before the window even opened, he was paraded as a Rangers player. Rangers need to have guys lined up for me. Do you think that is realistic?
Whether it's realistic or not, it needs to be the case. Danny Rohl kind of spoke about that possibility, didn't he? He said he's been speaking to people, and he's lining things up and figuring out if that's capable or not. The fact is, Derek, that we absolutely do need. Rangers need a 4, they need a 6, and they need a 10. The midfield's dire. It really is. Yeah, there's a lot of industry in there, and they work hard, but there's no ball carriers, and there's no quality in there. What quality we do have, Diamandi's miles off it at this moment in time. Connor Barron is working hard, so we're giving him a bit of praise, and that's fine. Nico Raskin is massively struggling, distribution, struggling for confidence. I think he looks up and knows fine well he's got absolutely nothing around him, and I think he's struggling as well. I think that we need something in that midfield, but the real difference, see when you look at Hearts midfield, I don't think there's a lot of goals in there. I think there's 2 goals in there from the likes of Devlin and stuff. And then you look at their forward line, and Braga, Shankland, and Kisaritas, I think. Sorry, the other boy. And they're flying. And that's the difference. You look at our forward line, and we've got Mikey Moore, who's kind of pitching in a wee bit, Gassama, who's completely off the boil. And you've got others like Danilo, Chermiti, and Miovski, who again at times are capable of moments of quality, but I just think they've not required levels at this moment in time. So how do you fix it in January? The fact is you can't fix this. It's almost like putting a bandage on a broken leg. You need 4 solid players, and we're of the opinion that the things that are kind of being said to us is that they will be in the region of about 4. People expecting or hoping for more. I don't think that's realistic unless they suddenly become available. But we need 4, or we need, those 4, if that's their intention, to be jackpot wins, to be first team starters, to be something that we can build on for the future. Because unfortunately, you can almost write it off unless those 4 are completely stick on, and we need to take that and build on it in the summer, because we do need 15 players again. We do need a massive turnaround. Asgard, Chermites, Ant-Mans, Diamandis, etc. These guys can all go. They can all go. That's the brutal truth of it. On form at this moment in time, and form can change quickly. And you know what it's like. All of a sudden, somebody can have 2 or 3 games and off they go and run. So you can never properly write anyone off. But on the evidence of the now, Tello, Asgard, etc., those big ones from the summer, they're never going to make it. And I'll get to be honest with you, Derek, I'm kind of sick of seeing Tello Asgard getting chances and thumbing it in the way he does at the weekend. I'm absolutely sick of it. And the attitude, desire and stuff like that clearly isn't there. This is a guy that looks like he's in the wrong movie. So, no, I'm a bit beyond my kind of point of saying, look, he needs time and stuff like that. And we need performers. We need guys that are going to dig in, and I include absolutely everybody. There's no exceptions here. Up until Mikey Moore scored on Sunday, I thought we were decent enough, and then it's almost like Hearts. Mikey Moore had a drilled shot, and Mekoma hit the rebound, and it got deflected wide. After that, Rangers never went forward at all. It was about 25 minutes in, I believe, if I remember correctly, and they just stopped. Hearts then became a wee bit more pressing and began to get in their face a wee bit more, and they literally crumpled into a shell. Individual mistakes again. Jack Butland's kicking, we've talked about it. He once again put us in danger. The marking set piece coach has to be questioned. What was going on for the first goal? The second one is horrible. They don't challenge for 2 headers. Manny Fernandez is easily beaten. There's no there's no will to win there. There's no nothing. And yeah, Jack Butland makes a total mess of it. He can't get his feet right, and we all understand that. But the build up to that second goal is horrific. And there's more. Shankland was in twice in the second half as we started to throw. It could have been worse. It thankfully wasn't. But let's get real. There's nobody in that team on Sunday nobody at all that you can look at and think, yeah, they did quite well, and right, okay, we can take 1 or 2. Dujon Sterling looks a class apart and stuff like that. I get it. I would be tempted if Suter is fixed, to move him into the 6 immediately, because we need a wee bit of dig and desire in there, because there's just nothing happening. But do you know what, Derek? There's so many problems. What do we need in January? We need a miracle. That's the truth. There's so many problems in that
Christmas
team.
miracle.
We need a whole new forward line. We need a midfield. The defence is scary at times, where guys are looking at the clouds and not paying attention. And goalkeeper wise, once again, Jack's right in the firing line. So it's just everywhere. Right back situation. What do you do? We've got a young boy at left back. How do you fix that, Derek? And listen, that's extreme, but we just don't have the quality. So how do you fix it? What do you prioritise? You probably prioritise getting 4 first-team quality players in to the best of your ability, and try and hope that they become pillars of the team that you can actually rely on. Ask you a quick question, I'll ask the viewers as well. Anybody in that 11 that we can rely on at this moment in time, properly? Is there anybody?
Probably yes. Well, Sterling's came back. He's looked okay.
Put Sterling over on the side at the moment, because he's been back and he's played 2 games. Is there anyone in that team so far that showed you and you can rely on and say, by the way, he is going to be a 7 out of 10 today. He might not be his best, but he'll still be a 7 out of 10 and he'll help carriers? See, for me, the answer is absolutely no. You're relying on little moments of individual stuff. Can Fernandes get something? Will Danilo take a chance? Will Majowski take a chance? Who will create for us? Nobody's creating a thing. So it's all moments. I'm just a little bit sick of it. A little bit sick of, I really wanted them just to go for it on Sunday. Just go and get mixed in.
It looked like they were. I thought that. I mean, got that goal. I thought, oh, here we go. Get their noses in front, and they start, like you say, started well enough, competed, but then that sort of goal being disallowed gave the home support a bit of a G up, and Rangers, as we know, don't cope well with adversity, do they?
We're like a rich tea biscuit being dunked in hot tea. We just crumble completely, and you know what I mean. It's just it's really disheartening to watch. I genuinely, we need a miracle in January. We really do. And whatever that miracle looks like, it has to be things at work. It has to. We need to stop. Like, we went on a downward trajectory. Every time we bring somebody in, you say, well, let's hope he's better than this one. He turns out to be worse. We cannot have a transfer window like that. If we're getting 4, it needs to be 4 that works. It needs to be 4 that gets it. It needs to be 4 that understands it. It needs to be 4 that are that have the ability to play for Rangers. Not only the ability, to be leaders, to not shrink in moments, to not...
No project players, please.
No, it can't be. It absolutely can't be. So, I mean, they have to get it right. Andrew Kavanagh says that he's the one that will make the final decisions along with Parag Marati. Well, they better be good ones. Because, by the way, this isn't a surprise. It's not like we're going into January just thinking, well, it's kind of went wrong in the last 6 weeks. This might be a surprise. This was evident pretty early on in this season, what we were lacking and where we were lacking. Fix the spine of the team as an absolute priority. And then hope that your Gasamas and your Moores and your Majowskis will start to get confident and start to create opportunities from the fact that we are stronger and we have a better spine and they're getting the ball more in better places, because we don't give players the ball in correct places. That's why we don't create. So can we fix these things? I certainly hope so. But festive cheer, Derek. Not so much. Listen, I am not going to come on my podcast. I'm not going to come on here and pretend to everybody that it's all sunshine and light. And what it is, people won't like it. Maybe people will think it's too harsh. I absolutely understand all that. We're 4th in the league. You know what I mean? Humiliated in Europe and out of the League Cup at a whimper. So, nah, not for me. This is Rangers. Priority should always be winning. It should always be first. If you're prepared to accept this and prepare where we are without being critical and without thinking, or with saying we are good enough and we're getting there and everything else, then you're in the wrong movie. First is all that matters, and we are miles away from that. And see, until we get that, I will continue to push for the standards that I believe we should be at. And at this moment in time, we're miles away from that.
Yep. Roll on the 27th. That'll be it. That'll be not a gimme by any matter. It means Motherwell playing good stuff at the moment. And then St Mirren, of course, buoyed after that League Cup final win. Interestingly, you mentioned Borna early on. He re-signed for Osijek back in his native Croatia. Well, yeah, he's joined his former club. Wouldn't mind Borna in that team as well. No, he came in for a lot of criticism at points, but that there's an example of downgrading. That infuriated me. I've said on numerous shows about that. That is a grave failure of Kevin Thelwell. How he let 3 left backs leave the building in the summer and brought in a loanee with a kid, and that was it, is an absolute disgrace. That should never have been allowed to materialise. And then coming out in a Rangers TV interview afterwards and saying that rhyming off players that can play left back if need be, it was just unacceptable. So no surprise to see that he is out of job, but that is where Rangers are in, an absolute mess at this point in time. TMN Delboy says, well, this is depressing. Come on, lads, the glass is half full. So he's looking upwards. Listen, I think Danny Rohl has done well since he came in. He's got a tune out of this group in the main. A tough set of fixtures coming up next, and then whether Rangers can bounce back against Motherwell will be interesting to see. I think he'll likely make changes. It depends on who's going to be available, I guess. And he is a bit sort of hamstrung with who is available, certainly with regards to defence, given that Nasser Giga is away, and not saying he's Franz Beckenbauer by any matter of means, but John Suter, as we heard from the press conference, hoping to be fit for the St Mirren game, so he won't be ready for Motherwell. But yeah, will you be going to Ibrox on the 27th, Stevie?
I will be. Full coverage as always. Me and Davey are there, then me and Amrit are on our show on the 30th. So yeah, Derek, look, I'll be as many as I can over the festivities. Those away games, whether or not we can go with Jim and the lads, certainly hope so. Aberdeen, Celtic. But look, Derek, you know, I'm as you know, like I still follow absolutely everywhere as I can. Couldn't get to Hearts. Understand that. But, you know, I think I've been to all of them apart from 3 away games this season. So, and all the home ones, like, you know what I mean, Derek, as much as, you know, come on here and grump and moan and push, because all I feel like I'm doing is pushing for the standards we should be. I'm there every single week. People will see me in the terraces and stuff like that. And I do support Rangers as best I can. This isn't a hobby for me. It's you know, I've been going for 35 years. So, yeah, I will be there and hoping, Derek. Not thinking, but hoping.
It's all hope. Yeah, I know.
How does he change it? I'm not sure he does. You know, he could put X in for Y and hope that they play better in that moment. But there's no magic wand there.
No.
Would I like to see him give certain players more of an opportunity than the likes of Asgard and stuff? Absolutely, I would. I'm kind of dying for to see more of Curtis. Just not because I think he's a world beater, because I think that he would do more than what's there. Do I think that Lyle Cameron deserves a chance? I know he's struggling for fitness, but at some point, you know, Danny Rohl's got to look at it objectively and say, well, I haven't given this guy a chance on the pitch, but I have given Telo Asgard multiple, and he continues to show me an empty jersey. So
NCL deserves a shot as well for me. I
said last week on the show that James Tavernier wouldn't start for me, that wouldn't play, and certainly shouldn't be in the team because of his form. And I would have risked NCL simply because I felt like he was more natural. And the NCL has been bombed out completely for doing the same things that others have had. And by the way, he's also our player. So, you know, he's not a fantastic option. I get it. He's not going to make the world a difference where, but, you know, if you keep rewarding Taverniers and Asgards and these players who are called Diamandis and whoever else you want to throw into that are not performing, and then we go, well, yeah, we didn't win again.
You might get the same outcome, I know. You need to switch it up.
I think Danny Rohl would get a lot more support, perhaps, if he made 1 or 2 bigger decisions where these players are coming out of it. So, I don't think he's got massive options, Derek. I really don't. I feel for him in that way. Maybe there's not, and maybe he just feels like they aren't the answer, but others aren't either. I would like to see him shift it and change it up. I'm pretty tired of seeing the same guys do the same thing and us expecting different results. It was ironic to me, and it wasn't lost, that Yusuf Chermiti had his best moment in a Rangers jersey on Sunday when it really didn't matter, because that was an excellent finish.
Yeah,
didn't mean a thing. If he could start doing that when it really counts, then that might be nice, you know, away at Tannadice and stuff like that. So
yeah, we need it.
There needs. I'd like to see these players take accountability. You know, Nico Raskin's words are great. Jack Butland's words are great. They're just words when we don't see it on the pitch. So about time people stood up and stepped up. And if Rangers really do mean to them, and if they are troubled by their performances and form and everything else, go and fix it. Because usually the guys that can do it.
Yep. For sure. Right, folks, we'll wrap up there. Just a heads up, remember that Danny Rohl press conference has now concluded, and that is available to watch over on the YouTube channel. I believe there's a second part which is embargoed. It's coming out in the coming days, and ditto, there should be a player as well coming out, I think, about 10:30 p.m. on Christmas Day, I think, if I'm not mistaken, which is a bit weird, but there you go. That's how Rangers are doing it just now, so something, I guess, to look forward to on Christmas night, if you're up for that. Tomorrow I'm on with Chris, or I think I'm on with Chris tomorrow morning, 9:30 as ever. Remember, we've got the Christmas Day show. Myself and Johnny will be on, and then Boxing Day, Joshua and Blair will have a show for you. So we'll have you covered over the festivities. Have a good Christmas, Stevie, because I won't see you until the fat man comes down the chimney. So you got all the Christmas shopping done?
Yeah, we're all set here. Just a chance to wish everybody, all the viewers, everybody comments, everybody that supports us, everybody that has a different sort of opinion, everybody that gets involved, have a wonderful Christmas, have a great festive period with your family. If you've got, mums and dads and families, make sure you hold them tight, and have a really, really great time. Personally appreciate everyone's support, and it's great to be on here, Derek. It's not, listen, has it been a good year for Rangers? No, it hasn't been, but at some point it will swing. At some point you might even see me crack a smile. So we've just got to hope those days come round soon. But Merry Christmas to everyone, and hope everybody has a great time.
Yep, here. Right, folks, enjoy your Tuesday, whatever you are up to, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.